Right, today's video is going to be a more serious video. It's not going to be a news, rumours, latest Manchester United story video. It's going to be an honest conversation about INEOS and the Glazers. Manchester United have been failing for 15 years nearly. Manchester United have not technically been successful since Sir Alex Ferguson left the club. We've had a couple little moments of success, winning the Europa League, but Manchester United should be winning multiple Premier Leagues. Manchester United should be competing in the Champions League, and it's been a very long time since we've been able to compete in the Premier League and the Champions League. We are factually the biggest club in England. Do you see the biggest club in Spain, Real Madrid, going this long without success? Do you see the biggest club in Germany, Bayern Munich, going this long without success? No. But Manchester United continually going longer and longer without success. And it's finally starting to hit the financials of Manchester United. And this is why we're actually beginning to get in trouble here. Manchester United have fallen 4 places down the Delight Money table. We were 4th, we're now 8th. This is from last season. We took a massive hit to our revenue. We are now below Arsenal, we're now below Liverpool, we're normally top of England, and now we're 5th out of all the English teams. 4th out of all the English teams. This was last season when we were in the Europa League. Next season it's going to be even lower. We're going to fall even more places when this comes out next year because we're not got European football this season. And if Manchester United do not get Champions League football this year, or at least even European football this year, we will fall even more. And we've always kind of been a big club financially, even when we're crap. And Ed Woodward, this was an Ed Woodward quote once. He said something. Ed Woodward once said, "It doesn't matter how Man United do on the pitch. We always perform great financially." Ed Woodward, I remember, said something like that one day. But we're now falling financially. We are now falling financially. So even though we're crap on the pitch, we do well financially, we can spend a load of money in the summer, we are falling and falling and falling and falling financially. And if we do not get Champions League football, we could become into some serious financial trouble. Now, the one positive of that is you could say, well, maybe this is what finally gets the Glazers and INEOS out of the club. If Man United don't get Champions League next season and we fall even more financially in the next 2 years, maybe that finally drives the Glazers out of the club. Because we're finally starting to lose the financial power hold we have on other clubs. Even when we've been crap, we've been right near the top. We've been right near Real Madrid. Real Madrid have created nearly double the amount of revenue as us when we used to be right with them. We keep falling off and falling off and falling off financially, that maybe it will drive the Glazers out of the club. You could look at that as a positive right now. But we've got to talk facts. Manchester United have a really good opportunity to get back in the Champions League. You potentially could do it with 5th. You will definitely do it with 4th. But we need a midfielder. Manchester City have gone and got Gay and Semenyo. We know we have 65 million because we were willing to get Semenyo. So you could say, oh, but maybe United are struggling financially, that's why they're not doing anything in January. If we had Manchester City's donors, we would have brought in a solid midfielder already by now. We are 22 days into January and nothing. Do you know why we've done nothing? And I'm going to expose INEOS and I'm going to expose the lies, yeah? Ruben Amorim is the distraction from the January window. We went for Semenyo, we didn't get him. We sacked Amorim. Sacking Amorim and bringing in Carrick is the distraction for the January window. Because now we just get the Carrick PR. Carrick's gone to academy games. Carrick's doing this, Carrick's doing that, and great. I like Michael Carrick. I am happy he's at the club. I thought he did a fantastic job versus Manchester City. And well done to him to going to academy games. Well done to him to restoring faith in Maino. I like these changes that Carrick is making. I like this. I like all these changes Carrick is making. And I like Carrick. Yeah? But Carrick's been in 1 game. We could lose the next 3 games in a row, first of all. We don't know what Carrick is going to be like. After 1 game, we're getting PR reports coming out that Amorim never went to an academy game and Carrick's already been to one. Yeah? I don't like Ruben Amorim. Yeah, I didn't like Ruben Amorim. I like Michael Carrick. But even I can see this is PR. This is INEOS PR. Ruben Amorim never went to an academy game. Look at Michael Carrick going to one already. This is a distraction from the fact we're doing nothing in January. This PR. And this is coming from someone that doesn't particularly like Amorim, that does like Michael Carrick. But this is PR. We've won 1 game. Everyone's happy. Everyone's giddy. I've been giddy this week. I've been absolutely getting carried away this week. We all do. We're emotional. We're fans. INEOS love that. INEOS go, he's battered Man City. Everyone's giddy. Everyone's forgot about the January window. Let's keep pumping out, Carrick's doing this, Carrick's doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Carrick is the interim manager. He's not a permanent manager. He's coming in to make some short-term changes to try and get us Champions League football. If we don't get Champions League football, am I going to blame Carrick or am I going to blame INEOS and the Glazers? I'm going to blame INEOS and the Glazers. We can put out, Amrin didn't do this and Carrick is doing this reports. Great. I like what Carrick is allegedly doing. But we don't know what Carrick's going to be like. And also, it's just so obviously like a PR thing. We're not going to spend in January, but we beat Man City. Let's put out loads of positive stories about Carrick to distract them from the fact that we're not doing anything in January. How about you go and spend some money in January? How about you go and get a checkbook and you spend some money in January? And I'm not talking Loftus-Cheek, and I'm not talking Weston McKennie or Wilfred Ndidi. I'm talking what a proper club would do. Joe Gomez is available for £35 million. James Garner is available for £20 million. You could even look at a Marc Casido of Barcelona. Manchester City went out and signed Nico Gonzalez last January. They went and signed Omar Mamouche last January. They went and signed Kuzanov last January. Manchester City this January have brought in Gay. They brought in Semenyo. In the summer, they brought in the likes of Cherki, Nori, Reinders. Manchester City have been so much more successful than us because they have owners that actually want to be successful. And do you know what the worst part about this is? We're talking about the financials at Man United, yeah? And the financials. Do the Glazers not realise that the best way to get our financials up is to be better on the pitch? If we get Champions League football, and if we start looking like a team that can compete in the Champions League and compete in the Premier League, and we're good on the pitch, we will make more money. You will make more money. You've been here 20 years, and you're like wondering why your business is failing, so you bring in INEOS. INEOS are only brought in to keep Man United's Glazer dream alive. The only reason the Glazers brought in INEOS is because they've run the club so badly for 20 years that they were like, we're starting to get into a position where we can't afford to run the club. So INEOS have come and been Joe and Avram's saviour. They've come and been Joe and Avram's saviour, put some money in the club, and it's INEOS' job to try and get the club performing better financially. INEOS have come in, and you could say maybe this is a positive because it might drive the Glazers out. And INEOS have sunk the club financially even more. Now, don't get me wrong. INEOS can't undo 20 years of Glazer mismanagement in 2 years. INEOS is a long-term project. But I'm looking at INEOS, and I'm thinking, where is their ambition? I'm just seeing INEOS lies. I'm seeing Glazer lies. We're going to back Amarin for 3 years. It's the long-term project with Amarin. We're not going to do anything for Amarin in January. We're backing for 3 years. And then you sack him. And look, I think he should have been sacked. But my mindset is, for me, once we got to January 1st, as someone that wanted Amarin gone in December, once we got to January 1st, I said I'd rather right now they go and spend some money in January on Amarin, try and make it work, and we keep him to the end of the season, and then in the summer we assess if Amarin's good enough or not. No, they sacked Amarin in January. So, and this is someone who doesn't particularly like Amarin. I literally said January 1st, I think they just need to pump some money into the club, give Amarin a midfielder, see if they can bring in a wing back, and we can assess Amarin in the summer if we back him in January. But they didn't, and they sacked him. And now they've got an interim in, and now they're doing PR reports about the interim. And look, I like Carrick, and I hope he succeeds, and I hope he does very well, but we've got to be looking beyond Carrick. We've got to be looking at the Ancelottis. We've got to be looking at the Tuchels. We've got to be planning ambitiously. But if we're not planning to bring in a midfielder or do this in January to increase our chances of getting Champions League football, then we're going to have less money to spend, and we're going to have an elite manager to come in who's potentially not going to have much money to be spent. And that's not going to help us long term. It's not going to help us long term. I don't understand why they aren't even trying to make us better on the pitch, because we would generate more money. You want to make money out of this club? Well, we need to be good. We need to be good. I mean, and this is why there's a protest. And this is why a protest is needed. And this is why INEOS is involved in the protest. Because look, the Glazers are more at fault than INEOS for me. But INEOS have come in, they've been here 2 years, and the club is sunk and sunk and sunk. And INEOS are acting like they care, this and that. If you care, spend some money. If you care, stop lying. Stop lying. Oh, Ashworth is amazing. Sacked after 5 months. Ruben Amorim, it's a long-term project. Got rid of him in January as soon as he called you out. I did not like Ruben Amorim. Yeah? But when they sacked Ruben Amorim, do you know why it was a disgrace? Because they didn't sack Ruben Amorim because of his 32% win rate or the amount of games he could not win. They didn't sack Ruben Amorim because of his poor performances and the awful football we were playing. They sacked Ruben Amorim because he fell out with Wilcox, and it was to appease Wilcox's ego. We got to the January window, you could have gone, you know what? We're going to backhammer in. It's a long-term project. We're going to deliver in January some short-term signings to get into the summer, and in the summer we're going to go all out. That's what you could have done, because that's what you said you were going to do. Now, honestly, I think Amarin should have been sacked. I don't think he was good enough, but the Glazers kept saying it's a 3-year project. Well, that was a lie. That was a lie. Ashworth is exactly what we need. Well, you got rid of him. That was a lie. There's just so many lies. And look, Ruben Amorim wasn't sacked because he was crap at his job. Ruben Amorim was sacked to appease Jason Wilcox's ego because they fell out. That's even more worrying. And that's why we've got a protest at this club, because it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Okay, yeah, we're 5th in the league right now. Michael Carrick's at the wheel, ex-club legend. We can do all this PR. If we lose to Arsenal, if we lose to Fulham, all this PR that INEOS is putting out is ineffective. I hope Michael Carrick succeeds. I hope Michael Carrick gets top 4, and I hope Michael Carrick does a fantastic job. And then ideally, I would love someone like Ancelotti to come in. Yeah, I wish Michael Carrick the best. But let's be honest, this club is a mess. There's a protest on February 1st, and this protest is also aimed at Sir Jim as well as the Glazers. Because I'm not happy with INEOS. And I've said, to be fair to INEOS, they're trying to undo the Glazers' mess. INEOS are not showing any ambition. Wilcox has not been good enough. Barada. What has Barada done? Simon Stone said this. So we protest not just against the Glazers, but also against INEOS and Ratcliffe, a man once seen by many, including ourselves, as a possible saviour, a beacon of hope, but now revealed as complicit in the ongoing merging of everything that makes our club what it is. And big credit to Simon Stone, because a lot of mainstream media journalists are scared to say things like this, are scared to talk about INEOS, are scared to talk about the Glazers. Do you know why? Oh, because Man United might stop me doing this, and this. There's people in media that won't call out INEOS, that won't call out the Glazers, because they then can't work with Man United. You know? I can't work with Man United because I've slandered the Glazers for years and years. I've slandered INEOS for years and years. I don't care. I'm not going to say good things about the Glazers and good things about INEOS so I can go and work with Manchester United at Old Trafford. No, but there's a lot of journalists that won't say what needs to be said, and big up to Simon Stone for reporting this. Because we've got to talk about Ratcliffe. We saw Ratcliffe as a beacon of hope. I saw him as the man that, to be honest, was giving the Glazers what they needed to stay at the club. But I also said, well, Ratcliffe is investing money in the club. Ratcliffe is at least trying to improve it by bringing in Ashworth, Barada, Wilcox, who have been failures, but at least he was trying. But Ratcliffe himself, what are you doing? The January window is there. I'm not saying you need to go and sign Elliot Anderson or Blaber in January. That's not possible. But look at a James Garner, look at a João Gomez, look at what you can do to get top 4. Because we need Champions League football next season. The problem is we're in the Champions League next season. We probably don't have the squad depth to deal with it. But we've got 1 game a week. We've got some good players. We really need European football. It's getting harder and harder in the Premier League. We need to do what we can to cement 4th. But you're not doing anything. And now you're putting out, oh, look what Michael Carrick's done in training. Cool, great. Well done, Michael Carrick. But I'm not stupid. You know, I'm happy for Michael Carrick. I love Michael Carrick, but I'm not stupid. I don't want to know about what Michael Carrick's doing in training. I want to know what you're doing this January.